Welcome to another edition of the Growth Game Podcast, live from Austin, Texas. We're at the Staffing Industry Analysts Annual Convention at the Executive Forum, and we're having a great time with our podcast guest today. We have Mike Bartels. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. From Becker Legal. Correct. Thank you for coming in. We love to get different vendors and people who have experienced staffing from every different direction. So thanks for coming on the podcast today.
It's my pleasure. I love sitting here talking to you.
Awesome. Well, great. So, the first thing I usually ask people, especially as we're getting to know each other, is why staffing? What's your background? How did you end up in surrounding staffing as a vendor? And love to hear your experience.
All right. So really, I'm in a really unique situation when it comes to staffing. So about 19 years ago, I was working at a firm on Wall Street, and things weren't going too well. And we parted ways, and I had somebody introduce me to a position at a large accounting firm. And I happened to, interview, got the job. I'm head of business development. I'm trying to figure this out. So one of the strong niches was staffing. So in October 2006, I went to my very first ASA conference. Okay. And it was really interesting. So I'm sitting there, I'm watching and learning about the business and became intrigued with it. So the partner that I worked with at the time, he was the staffing practice leader, and we started building. At the time, they had about 45, 50 staffing clients. Over the course of about 11 years, I learned a lot about the business and how to grow it and the different intricacies of it. And we grew it to about 240 clients during that period of time. It's pretty significant growth.
Yeah, that's huge.
I was very proud of it. He was a fantastic person to work with and taught me a ton from the accounting perspective.
So this was accounting services for staffing agents.
Correct.
Was that your background?
I was an in-house accountant.
So you were
years ago,
and so you moved to business development for accounting, and that was when first experience in staff.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Correct. And then I decided to make a career change. I was offered a fantastic position where I'm at today with Becker LLC. The managing partner and I did a lot of work together, and he was also in staffing. Brought me on board, and I took over as Chief Development Officer. So I oversee the business development efforts, marketing, key client relations, and project management. And staffing was just a natural fit. So we've now in 8 years exponentially grown the practice, but we've also become the leading merger and acquisition firm in staffing over the past 7-8 years. We average anywhere from 10 to 20 deals annually, all niches, all shapes and sizes. And helping them grow, but we also work on the operational side of the business, which is vitally important. So, their contracts, handbooks, all the other stuff that goes along with your daily routines and staffing. So it's a passion of mine. Shout out to my two boys that are out there. They're also both in staffing. So they, it's kind of a family thing at this point.
That's so exciting. Very cool. Your boys are in staffing as vendors, or are they in the staffing industry?
Oh, no, they're in the industry. One's a vice president for Central Virginia with a very large staffing company, and my other son is an executive recruiter for a fantastic firm on Long Island. So
I love it. It's so interesting. There's something about staffing. It just fits people that really love people. And it's such a human business. It has all that tangible things that, that keep lifting people up, showing them how to be able to be successful at things. So that's pretty neat that your sons have stayed in the industry. I love it.
Not only stayed in the industry, but they thrive in it.
Yeah.
You have to be a people person in this industry. You have to really relate to each person that you're talking to within the industry. I think that's really key, because each staffing company within each different niche, with each different size, they're all different, but at the end of the day, they're all the same.
Totally, I'd agree with that. That's very cool. Well, great. So you're helping Becker grow. I love that you said that you're helping your clients get set and ready to be, make sure that they've got their whole office set up. And then you're doing a lot of M&A. So as far as how much M&A is the practice, mergers and acquisitions, as opposed to your kind of daily of work that you're doing over time?
Merger and acquisitions, I think, is about 60% of our staffing practice. Operationally, I think it's more 40%. But on any given point in time, it can flip-flop. Deal flow is deal flow. Deal flow comes, and it goes away. Not all deals that come to the table close, as you and I both know very well. There's a lot of intricacies to it that gets us to the finish line. So it fluctuates daily.
It's nice. So I'm super interested in pattern matching growth. That's one of the reasons that our listeners join all the time is, How do they pattern match growth and doing the positive things that are going to impact their business? So you get to see a lot of different companies that are successful and some that aren't so successful. But if you looked at the few things that enabled a staffing company to scale and make it, as opposed to stall, do you have a few things in your mind that you see or indicators that match what you see as success or not?
Can you tell by my smile?
Oh yeah, sounds like you got a list.
One, the first thing you want to do is keep your house in order. If you don't have a very strong back office in staffing, you're in trouble. Okay. Two, secure yourself with the right vendors in staffing. Your funding group, your insurance brokers, your accountants, and your legal team. If they're not staffing focused, make them staffing focused. Okay. Three, I think is vitally important. I think if you're a staffing company owner, you should make sure that your recruiters and your sales team work hand in hand. When they work outside and independently of one another, they should be communicating on a daily basis. That's really to continue your growth. And, I also think really one of the most important things too is make sure your ATS is in line. Because make sure you're utilizing your ATS to the right position. But it's definitely, those key factors is going to propel you for growth. And if you're going to grow, you're going to have to decide which way you want to grow. If you're going to grow organically, strengthen your sales team, strengthen your leadership of your sales team. That's vitally important. On the flip side, when you get to a certain bandwidth, if you have a goal of growing 20% year over year, but you're a $30 million company, your 20% should really be 25% because 5% by attrition are going to walk away. You're going to lose business. So how are you going to grow 25%? And that's really where you have to start thinking about growing through acquisition, whether it's a tuck-in, a life firm, your competition, if you may want to buy them, which does happen every day. That's a great way to think about growing.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, having the strategy of both organic and acquisition is definitely key. That's what I've seen many successfully pull off, but it doesn't work unless they have the house in order.
Correct.
And I love the basics of what you said. Having the ATS cranking, making sure you've got the right funder that actually knows the staffing industry and the ups and the downs, the right insurance people, and not just the right insurance program, but actually having your broker or your claims people really know staffing and know how to keep you going. Mm-hmm. Having your legal team put together and know that you've got things right. You've got your contracts right. You've got your indemnification right. You're doing all those things correctly. If you have those things in place, you're going to be more successful. I appreciate that you also mentioned the ATS. And so, that market is undergoing a lot of transition. How have you seen, especially when you're dealing with buyers and sellers here, how have you seen the most thoughtful buyers and sellers thinking about technology with there being so much new technology coming in? How do they deal with all the new technology and then the legacy and not mess it up?
Research. You have to do a lot of research. If you have an ATS, trust your ATS because they're going to, they're so heavily involved in it. Make sure you're with an ATS that's one, willing to grow, two, that's extremely active in the industry. Now we have two or three that are really, really strong. Make sure they're embracing AI. It's coming, whether you like it or not, whether you're compliant with it or not, make sure you embrace it and really understand the AI portion of it right now. And, you take a look around here with all the different vendors, contact that. Go through your state associations, go through SIA, go through ASA, ask questions. There's blogs, there's people to ask on that. Go to LinkedIn, learn from your peers. There's people out there that are always a little bit smarter than the rest of us that are going to help you get to that point.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I've always felt that way. In fact, it's the way I actually grew up. And my dad used to always say to me, go find somebody that knows something better than you and does something better than you and ask them for help. Put those people around me. I think successful people are not, their ego doesn't get in the way and are willing to put people that do things better than them around them, So I especially with technology, I find that you have to be able to embrace that and put really smart people around you that can actually figure out the right tool sets and the right ways to implement them to the team. So that's excellent. Well, great. So where do you go? Where does your law firm go? Like how are you going to continue to grow? What's your ambition?
The ambition is really just to continue actually, to be honest with you, it's simple. Continue to give the best service that you possibly can. Be available, answer the questions you need to answer, be in front of them. And, we do a lot through thought leadership, through interviews, coming to events like this and speaking, both nationally, the smaller associations, white papers, LinkedIn. We're going to continue to grow that way. The firm's always going to evolve in one way or another. We're going to evolve with the times. Like I said, a few years ago, M&A was really hot. There were a lot of bigger deals. The deals are still there, but they're a little bit smaller. So what do? You continue on your operations because this industry is evolving. It's constantly changing. Embrace the change. Don't push against it. It's like swimming against the tide. You're really never going to get anywhere. Embrace it and just roll with it. So we're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to be in this industry, working with people like yourself. And, I think it's really important just to be forward-facing in your clients.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's one of the reasons why we've put so much effort in myself and my team to, just be transparently out there. And that's why we're doing so much social media. That's why we're doing the podcasting. It's why we're at all the shows. Because, if you're there and you truly are delivering thought leadership when clients need you, they know where to find you, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's the same way that you're growing as well. Well, excellent. Thank you so much for joining us on the Growth Game podcast. It's been excellent, Mike. Thank you so very much. Well, that's a wrap from the Growth Game podcast live in Austin. Until next time.